On the 19th of November 2021, Pokemon released the highly anticipated remakes of Generation 4, Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl. Sinnoh is a fan favorite region among fans, but there's a lot of controversy online about these games. The unique art style and the lack of Platinum Pokedex really make this game feel incomplete, and there's a lack of challenge when playing through this game. Hi, my name is Toxicity, and I'm going to discuss a massive flaw in one of my personal favorite games, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, I'm a Generation 4 fanboy, and I did agree with a lot of the hate online that this game was receiving, but after a few replays, I've actually come around to enjoying the art style, but I do agree with a lot of people's opinions online that the games really lack a challenge, and the Platinum Pokedex would have fit this game a lot better than just going back to the original Generation 4 Pokedex. We are set to get a remake of Generation 5 and journey back to the Unova region in the next few years, so I really wanted to discuss the fact that I hope that the Pokemon games don't make the same mistake as Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I'm expecting it to kind of follow the same sort of lines of an updated art style, but the Pokedexes for Generation 5 could use a lot of work. This video isn't about Generation 5, so let's avoid discussing that too much. My main concern with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is the fact that instead of adding the Platinum Pokedex, which added a bunch of new Pokemon to the game, they stuck to the Diamond and Pearl Pokedexes and limited the gym leaders and Elite Four to having Pokemon that did not fit their type structures at all. This left a few of the Elite Four members and also the gym leaders feeling a little bit lackluster. I mean, these Pokemon trainers are experts in their types, and if you're giving them random Pokemon to use on their teams, they're really not experts in that type. I feel like we could have added the Platinum Pokedex, added these Pokemon into the Underground, and just given them straight to the gym leaders and Elite Four members. The Underground already added a bunch of new Pokemon that we couldn't get originally in Diamond and Pearl to the game, and having them available for the gym leaders and the Elite Four members just makes so much sense when you think about it. But I know that Game Freak really didn't consider this when remaking these games, and instead they gave us a gym challenge and also an Elite Four that kind of lacked any sort of expertise, and I feel like if we made some small adjustments to the gym leaders or the teams of these members, it would have really helped. For example, in the original games, Cynthia was a threat, and in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, she still is a threat. Her team didn't change much at all and still sends shivers down my spine. I was so scared to go up against Cynthia, and it brought back memories from my childhood when I sat there crying at the fact that I couldn't beat Cynthia. It took me a lot of attempts and a lot of luck. Let's start at the top and work backwards. The Elite Four member Flint, his team is an absolute joke. He has a Rapidash and he has an Infinite. They're fire types. That is great. But Flint also has a Steelix, a Drifblim, and a Lopunny. A Steel Ground, a Ghost Flying, and a Normal type, which doesn't make any sense at all. If you rematch Flint, he has a much better team. He has a Houndoom, a Flareon, a Rapidash, an Infinite, and a Magmortar. Perfect. Just give him that to begin with. He then has a further second rematch team where he has a Ninetales, a Houndoom, a Rapidash, an Infinite, an Arcanine, and a Magmortar. That is so much better than the original team. That would have created a much bigger challenge for Pokemon fans going through the Elite Four members again. And if you're playing a Nuzlocke, that actually screams terrifying. We could have had a lot of Pokemon taken out before we even get to Cynthia, but instead, Flint's kind of a pushover. I mean, technically, the Elite Four member Aaron also doesn't fit the scheme, but Drapion is the closest thing to a bug that's not a bug type in the game, so I'm gonna let him slide just for now. One of the final gym challenges is Candace. Candace has a Snover, a Sneasel, a Medicham, and an Abomasnow. One of those Pokemon doesn't fit at all. Snover is a grass ice type, Sneasel is a dark ice type, Abomasnow is a grass ice type as well as Snover, and Medicham is a fighting psychic type. He does have Ice Punch, but that doesn't just mean you can add it to a gym leader's type that is ice type. They're meant to be an expert in ice types. Now, I know in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they added the fact that you can terrestrialize Pokemon and change typing, but that wasn't in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Candace's team could have been a lot better. Well, the final gym leader I completely skipped over. We jumped to Candace, but Faulkner. Volkner also has a terrible team. Raichu and Luxray are the only two electric type Pokemon on his team. They're great Pokemon, but when you go and look at his team as a whole, he also has an Ambipom and an Octillery, a water type and a normal type. Now that doesn't make sense at all. There's plenty of electric type you could have thrown into the game that were available in Platinum, but they just didn't even think about that. Now, I'm not even going to go into the fact that your rival's team also doesn't really make much sense either. His Starly evolves really late in the game, and there's a bunch of team members on that team that could be replaced to actually be a threatening team, but instead they kind of made your rival a bit of a joke as well. If there was a little bit more focus on these gym leaders and Elite Four members teams, I feel like the game would have felt a lot more challenging. The rematches for the Elite Four, those teams are actually quite scary. I don't know why they wouldn't have just thrown those straight into the Elite Four to begin with. We could have had a lot more of a challenge, and Cynthia wouldn't have just been the end of the game. Now, Cynthia does deserve all the respect in the world, but I feel like she is so far above the Elite Four, it's not even funny. The level of difficulty going up against Cynthia compared to the other Elite Four members is insane. Now, I know Cynthia is the best Pokemon trainer in Sinnoh apart from your player, but you could have made the Elite Four a little bit more of a threat. The gym leaders, yes, they could have been updated, but the rest of the gym leaders also feel a little bit lackluster as well. I guess at the end of the day, I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm really crossing my fingers that the Generation 5 remakes are really enjoyable and actually pack a bit of a challenge. If you want to see a continuation of a game that was done right, look no further than Black 2, White 2. That game was absolutely amazing and a perfect follow-on from Black and White. Now, I'm not expecting Game Freak and Nintendo to go all out with these remakes, but I really hope they're better than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I don't mean to hate on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl at all. I really enjoy playing through these games, and I'm most likely going to again before the year ends. But I just really wish there was a bit more of a challenge, especially when you're playing through it for the first time. Do you agree with what I've said in this video? Let me know down below your opinion on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and would you be a fan of the art style returning in the Generation 5 remakes? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.